Hello ladies and gents, Eric here with Master Tool Repair. Today I'm going to show you an instructional video on how to replace a power cord and a power tool. May seem pretty simple, but there's a couple tricks that can make it easier. And this is a dual circular saw, pretty standard switch, pretty standard 2-prong cord. Let's get started. So this is a type of switch. I already have the handle off. By the way, they're T20 star bits. Most of them use star bits nowadays. So I just simply removed the cord clamp here with the T20 star bit, and I removed the switch screw that holds it to the handle, and also I removed the wire nut. And this wire nut simply attached the white neutral from the power cord to the white field wire. So I just removed that. So once you have the cover off, handle off, everything's easy to see. And this cord, as you see, kind of needs a replacement. You know, it'd be a good idea. I mean, if you like a electrocution or shock, maybe not, but OSHA requirement too if you're working on the job. So obviously that was defective. So good old 2-prong cord, nothing too complicated or fancy. Always replace it with the OEM cord if you can. If not OEM, at least the same gauge. This is a 14-2 SJ, not a 16 gauge, which is kind of typical, but saws, you want a thicker sheeting and a little bit of a thicker wire. So this is a 14 gauge. Always go, up in gauge. You can use a thicker gauge cord, but never thinner. So again, 14-2 SJ is what we have here. Now I do kind of pan the camera around here. I do have soldering iron and flux right here that we could use, but in this case, it's not really necessary because we have a newer style switch that has the flag terminals or ring terminals. That's how the wires attach to the switch. So not necessary per se, but if you have an old style switch where you have just simply the connections of push lock connections, where you push the wire in and they lock on their own, you really want to solder the wire. It makes a much better secure connection, and soldering iron's cheap. You can get them at craft stores even. You might have them already. Have a soldering iron for crafts or what have you. So you have your flux right here. You have your solder right here. And it's lead-free solder, although it's not necessary. Not necessary, but lead-free. Electrical solder is usually lead-free, so you'll probably see that. And your soldering iron. So you would just heat up your soldering iron. Install your flux there. Just cover the wire with flux. It'll make a nice smooth connection. So just heat it up. The wire will start to sizzle, and your flux will simply melt smoothly onto the wire. So I've actually done that here and soldered the black wire. Not necessary again for this particular style of switch, but if you have a different style switch, always solder your wires. Okay, so right here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Alright, so right now we're going to install this little ring terminal. Again, that's how the black wire attaches to the switch. So what I'm going to do is take wire strippers, which you'll need, is very helpful, although you could just use your wire clippers, but these are great. Wire strippers are excellent. They have the gauge wire holes, so it denotes the gauge wire, makes it really easy. So I do recommend these certainly. All you need is a few tools, wire cutters, maybe wire strippers, soldering iron if you have one, but it's not even necessary depending on the type of switch, and a screwdriver. That's really all you need. Very easy, simple repair to do yourself. You don't necessarily need to pay somebody to do it. Very easy. Alright, so went ahead and installed this ring terminal onto the black wire here. We're going to take our wire crimpers and simply crimp down on the wire. Alright, so we've got a nice good crimp there, and it's not going anywhere. Okay. Alright, so our cord protector once again is on our cord. We're going to go ahead and install the black wire right where it came off of the old switch. And usually a switch will have a wiring diagram just in case. Say you're replacing multiple wires, you forget or you replace a switch and you forget where the wires go. There usually is instructions with it, or at least a wiring diagram on the back of the switch. Alright, let's grab our T20 size screw here, star bit. Alright, so our black wire is in our switch. Beautiful. And we want to take the screw that holds the switch on. Make sure you don't lose it, as I tend to often do. Alright, and install that back onto the handle. And this particular saw is not too bad. I've really cleaned it up a little bit, but sometimes you need to take a blowgun. You know, you want to blow out the dust. That's also very helpful to do. Dust is no good for brushes, electronics, what have you, so you might need to blow it out. Alright, so we're going to take our white field wire and our white power cord wire. We're going to go ahead and tie those together. Install the wire nut. Screw it back on. Make sure all the wires are nice and neat and tucked in their particular channels, and so you don't have loose wires. Just kind of tuck them away there. There's usually little channels for the wire to sit in and kind of press into. The black wire here needs to be moved, covering a screw hole. So there we are. Beautiful, nice, neat, clean, everything's routed. Now we're going to take our cord clamp, take our screwdriver here, install this back on. The cord's not going anywhere. Excellent. There you go. See, you yank on it, nice and tight. Perfect. Alright, so we're going to install the handle back on. You might need to, you don't necessarily need to remove the blade, or at least the clamp here, lever for the this table saw itself, or the actual table for the saw. You can just usually, take this screw out. You'll need to remove that one and just kind of slide it. So you don't need to necessarily take this off. All right. Make sure everything is copacetic. Make sure it just goes together very easily. You shouldn't have to necessarily press down too hard. It means something is amiss and the wires aren't routed usually very well. Alright, so now that clamps together very easily. Now we're going to go ahead and put her back together. Alright, there we go. And voila, cord replacement done. Alright, and just to be safe, we're going to go ahead and plug her in. We'll do a little quick test. Beautiful. And the electric brake engages. Lastly, I want to show you a nice little trick here to wrap up the cord that when I first started working on power tools initially, the late great Gary Seiler taught me. He used to work at Skill Bosch Service Center in Norfolk, Virginia, my hometown, and just showed me this little trick. Instead of, say, just wrapping a cord around the saw, which you could do, like so, and if you want to be lazy like I am sometimes, you could do that, sure. But this is just kind of a little neater trick and neater way to wrap up the cord. So you're going to take a portion of the cord here, closest to the protector, the string relief, and just kind of make a loop, about yay big. So not arm's length, not quite, but about yay big. Alright, just going to wrap it a few times. Say, depending on how long the cord is, but say 3 or 4 times. Alright, and you see how now, squeeze it together, and there's kind of 2 loops. Right, just like that, kind of like a bow. And you want enough slack, I'd say about at least a foot or 2 of slack, from here to the plug. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the plug, bring it through the bottom loop,
pull it through, wrap around like so. Make sure you squeeze your left hand, hold down the bow, and you're going to wrap it around a couple times and up through the top loop. There you go. See, nice and neat, compact. So that's just a nice little trick there. So there you go. If you have any more questions, feel free to contact us or post on the forums. We'd be glad to give you some more tips, more detail. But hopefully that helped you guys out. And please, if you have any requests for any type of how-to videos, go ahead and send us a suggestion by email or what have you, and we'll definitely go ahead and try to put it up there for you. Thanks again for watching.